Welcome to our Virtual Learning Nufarm Academy series. In this video, we'll discuss the issue of lodging in cereals and the approaches that can be taken to minimise the problem. My name is Dyason. I'm Technical Manager for Nufarm in the UK. We will look at the cost of lodging, how crops lodge, the husbandry practices that can be carried out to reduce lodging. Then we'll look at how PGRs work, the actual different hormones activity, the Nufarm PGR portfolio, and their practical use in programs. The cost of lodging in cereal crops is not just about loss of yield. There is also the loss of quality, there is the additional drying costs, and the additional combining time, which could have detrimental effects on the whole harvest. Crops lodge in two ways. The main problem is the buckling of weak stems. But where crops have poorly established root systems, and especially in loose or wet soils, it's possible for the whole plant to come out of the ground and lodge. Stem strength depends on stem diameter and the composition and width of the stem wall. And stem lodging occurs when the stem base has insufficient strength to hold the shoot up against the leverage of the wind. Anchorage of the plant depends on the spread and depth of the root plate and the strength of the surrounding soil. And root lodging occurs when the root system has insufficient anchorage to hold the plant up against the leverage. On average, lodging occurs every 3 to 4 years, on up to about 20% of the UK winter wheat area, with serious economic consequences. Loss is greatest when the crops lodge early, and up to 75% of yield can be lost if crops lodge at ear emergence. Later lodging has less effect on yield, but will of course impair quality. Lodging risk increases with wind speed and rainfall. The density of air increases with moisture content, so rainfall increases the potential for stem lodging as well as root lodging. There are a number of factors that can be taken into account when predicting lodging. First of all, soil strength. Soil shear strength has a large impact on anchorage strength and therefore most effect on root lodging. Soils with loose crumb structure, low clay content or high organic matter tend to provide less anchorage and hence crops are at a higher lodging risk. Soil strength also reduces significantly as moisture content increases. Crops grown in fields with light and drought-prone soils tend to lodge less, whereas in areas with long growing seasons, high fertility sites or eye spot infection will increase lodging risk. And varietal lodging resistance score decreases by ½ point for each tonne per hectare of yield increase. Latitude influences sowing date and also length of the growing season, which again increases the lodging risk. The condition of the crop in spring will also indicate future lodging risk. So root lodging risk increases when the plant exceeds 200 plants per square metre, whereas stem lodging risk increases when the canopy at growth stage 31 is very large, with a ground cover of more than 60%, as such crops tend to be weak stemmed. Changes in husbandry practice can significantly reduce the risk of lodging, whether it be by delayed sowing, using lower seed rates, reducing the amount of early nitrogen, or best of all, using a PGR program, which will have by far the greatest effect in terms of reducing lodging risk. Spring management action can assess the likely threat of lodging to a specific crop by starting with a resistance to lodging score for that variety and then adjusting that score for the crop's soil residual nitrogen, sowing date and plant population. Early nitrogen or excessive applications of nitrogen increase tiller numbers and reduce stem strength. This increases the risk of both stem and root lodging. A canopy management approach to nitrogen use, using delayed or reduced applications, will actually improve both root and stem lodging resistance by 0.5 points. Plant growth regulators. Tall crops offer more leverage and are more prone to root and stem lodging. So shorter crops using plant growth regulators will reduce lodging risk. Spring rolling. Loosely structured soils provide weak anchorage for crops. So spring rolling, in appropriate conditions of course, will consolidate such soils and reduce lodging risk.